You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, the bald bearded one is on the other end today. That is Rick Hawn. Rick, you're finally back in Boston from Montreal, is that right?
Yep. Spent the whole training camp up in Montreal last 5 weeks, basically.
How is TriStar treating you?
It's treating me great, man. Love it up there. Great training camp, great partners, great coaches. So it's everything you can ask for.
Did you find somebody? You're getting ready to fight Carl Parisian in Bellator, and it's going to be one of those situations where old judo versus new judo. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. I mean, I retired a few years ago, so I guess I was still kind of old judo compared to now, I guess, with all the rule changes. But, yeah, definitely, he was, we go back in our judo career a little bit as well. So, but he kind of left judo early to get his MMA career going. So, and I continued a little longer, obviously.
Did you guys competed in each other in judo?
Yeah, about 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, wow. And what happened to that match?
I think we competed twice. I won both those times. There's still tough fights. He was scrappy back then.
Yeah, a lot of people forget that I have a second-degree black belt in judo underneath Patrick Burris, and it's one of the toughest things because you can go out there and have like you and I could compete 8 times, and I'll be 0-8 versus you, and I'll get e-ponned every single time, but it's still very, very close. The match is very, very close. I get caught all of a sudden. Judo is one of those things that if you have your timing down, you have everything correct as far as your strength, your step power, then all of a sudden the match is over very, very quickly, even though it was very competitive until that point.
Yeah, exactly. It only takes a second, as you know. So, yeah, you be in the last 5 seconds of the match.
How hard was it for you to make the jump from judo to MMA to get used to, this might be 15 minutes of me having to beat this guy up, and he might never go away. He might stay in the fight the whole time.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. Actually, my first 4 or 5 fights, though, only lasted a couple minutes. So it took me a while before I got, used to having like a full 15-minute fight. So up till then, I thought it was pretty easy. I was finishing guys early on, but yeah, it definitely took a little bit of time to get used to. But my cardio, I changed my training style, and the cardio was definitely obviously a huge factor in making sure that you're able to go the whole 15 minutes.
Now you did judo for a very long time, and all of a sudden now you're trying to throw a bunch of punches. You've got to change your hips and change your shoulders. In judo you're kind of square and step, but you're not in that side stance that a lot of boxers are. How hard was it for you to get that foot step down and get that shoulder rotation down from going from square from judo to all of a sudden turning a little bit more for MMA? Like how hard was that transition?
Very hard. Especially because I fought righty in judo, which is a lefty in fighting, so it totally messed me up at the start. But now it actually feels uncomfortable to go back to my judo stance because I'm just so used to standing orthodox with striking. So it took a while, but I feel much better, punching with my right hand as my power hand as opposed to my left.
Now, who started you out boxing as a right-hander? Who was your first boxing coach?
It's just something that's just felt natural to me to box like that. I don't know. It didn't feel right with my legs standing, but punching wise, that's what always felt comfortable.
Because I'm a right-handed wrestler and I'm a left-handed boxer, but I play judo left-handed, which is strange. I do switch my stance for judo, but when it comes to boxing wrestling, I have the same stance. And it's always confused me why someone like you has been so good at what you do for so long in judo, with that right hand forward, your right leg forward, to all of a sudden switch your stance. You spent 30 years being in this direction. Why would you switch it to this direction? But you made the conscious decision. It wasn't a coach that said, you got to switch. You just felt more comfortable being in an orthodox stance.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I probably should have maybe stuck with what was more comfortable. Like you said, all those years of standing that way. But, I don't know. Maybe I would have had more success as a lefty just because they're a little more awkward to fight. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only thing that saved me, is that being a left-handed boxer saved me a lot of – I'm not very good. I just got lucky a lot because I just kind of found my ways around things. So let's before we break down Carl Parisian, let's go back and look at the Michael Chandler fight, the last fight you had. You got submitted by rear naked choke in round 2. It was a pretty game fight, but it kind of seemed like that Michael kind of worried on you a little bit, and it started getting your cardio started to fatigue, and he started keeping the pressure, and that's what caused the rear naked choke. It wasn't a technical flaw, obviously in your style. It was a looked to me, at least at home, it was a cardio flaw. What really happened in that fight?
Definitely not a cardio flaw. Even though I was on the bottom for basically the whole first round, in between the round 1 and 2, I felt great. I was barely breathing. Halfway through round 2, I was on the bottom, but definitely not cardio. I just made a mistake. I've never been in that situation in any of my fights before. I've never been on bottom, trying to get up. On 16 fights I've had, I've always been on top. So it was the first time I was taken down, first time I was held down. So even though you train it, in that atmosphere, title fight, everyone watching, it was, I don't know, maybe I wasn't all there. And I think I kind of panicked. I tried to get up. I was thinking, as soon as I started to get up, I was thinking I would get to the cage. And that's why I gave him my back. And in that split second, I thought to myself, I should turn to my back and go back to a guard at least, or half guard. But I tried to stand up, and I let him get his hooks in, and that was all she wrote.
Okay, now that's difficult to come in, after a big fight like that and recover. What changes did you make in this training camp to fix that mistake from happening again?
I didn't really take any time off. I was, from that channel, I was back on the mat that Monday, training. I just wanted to get back in there and work on things. Just work on getting up, work on just basic stuff. It all comes down to basics. I made a mistake. I was off that night, whatever. I think Caro has a different wrestling game than Chandler by a long ways. So, we'll see what happens.
Break down Caro for me as you see him for this fight. As you see Caro as an MMA fighter, let's break him down real quick.
Well, he's obviously been around a long time, a lot of experience. He's fought all the big name guys. He's not the same Caro that he was, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when he was back in the UFC in his heyday. But I've heard he's training. He's kind of in recovery, I guess, from being addicted to painkillers. He's off that, so we'll see. Definitely a potential for a very tough fight for me. But also, if I do everything right, it could be an easy night for me. But it depends on what version of Caro shows up.
Caro has had some mental issues lately. A lot of anxiety. If you push him a little bit too hard too early, he fades out real quick. Is part of that going into your mindset when you go into that fight on Thursday?
Yeah, absolutely. My coach knows him well for us, a hobby. So, he comes up with a great game plan and strategy. So, knowing all that and his history, we're going to use it to our advantage. And, I feel great. Had a great training camp. So, I'm ready to go.
Who's going to corner you for this fight?
Well, actually, Faraz just texted me today. He got sick, so he's not going to be able to make it. So, Dave Loiseau is going to corner me, and my jiu-jitsu coach, Kevin Landry.
Oh, good. Okay. Now it's Easter Sunday when we're doing this interview. You just got back to Boston. Are you going to spend Easter at all with your family in Boston?
Yeah, I'm here with my fiance. We went to her parents today for breakfast, and my brother flew in. Actually, my brother's going to corner me, Jeremiah, as well. So he just flew in from Eugene, Oregon, this morning. So yeah, just hanging out, relaxing right now, and head down to Atlantic City tomorrow.
What's your weight like going to be the morning of weigh-ins?
Morning of weigh-ins? Mm-hmm. I don't know, 5 pounds over.
Okay, normal, typical guys. Most guys are in weight-bearing sports. They have been for a long time. You wrestlers, you judo, you boxers. 5, 6 pounds is about the wake-up weight. A lot of these new guys, they cut weight the night before. They wake up on weight, and I never understand how they can keep their weight down that low for that long. Like I'm like 15 minutes, I touch the scale, and my weight comes right back up again. These guys are no, I hold it down for 18 hours, 19 hours. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, obviously the shorter amount of time you're at that weight, the better, especially if you're making a big cut. But this is at welterweight for me, so I'm struggling to put on weight. So I've been eating everything, and so it'll be a really easy cut.
Good, beautiful. Rick, I really appreciate you coming on here. Let you go because I know it is Easter. I know you haven't seen your fiance for a while, so I want to get you as much time as you can with her before you take off.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You got it. We'll talk to you soon, Rick.
All right, take care.